So I'm going to do a little seascape painting here. This is going to be a very quick one. This is preparation for a demonstration on Create and Craft TV, and I'm going to be using the Pebeo Studio acrylics. So I'm just putting, need a little bit more of that blue, I think. So I've got my paints ready. I'm using a piece of canvas board from a pop art pad, and let's see where we get on. And let's go. Which one am I going to use? I'm going to use this 25mm brush just to put all my colour down. So I'm going to wet my brush and then dry it off. These brushes can hold a fair bit of paint, a fair bit of water, so I don't want it to be too dripping wet. I just wanted it damped down to start with. So I'm going to use my ultramarine and my white. Dripped water all over my board, that will make a difference. Just covering over. Then I'm going to just pick up white. I haven't cleaned my brush. Just picking up my white. Let's have a little bit of pink in my brush, just the corner of it. A little bit of orange coming in too. Bring that down to about there. Bit more of the pink, bit more of the orange. There we go. So we can sort of blend that all out. I'm going to clean my brush and give it a good dry again. Like I say, these can hold a bit of paint, so you just have to be careful you don't dollop too much water back on what you're doing. I'm going to take my white. I've got to do this reasonably quickly. And then a bit of my pink and orange mix. And then I'm going to add a bit of blue into that mix, just to put a shadow colour coming down. Then I've got this, doesn't matter what size it is, but this is just an absolutely dry brush. Just going to experiment with blending that out. I prefer doing it with a smaller brush. Right, so I'm going to take my brush again, wash it and give it a really good dry. That dot is where I had a drip of water on my canvas. Come back in with a white and just top that with some white. In a few places. Okay, then I'm going to come down and work on the sea. So I'm coming back in, I'm taking my dark blue, just want to darken it down a bit, so I'm putting a touch of my orange in there, just to brown it off a little bit. Let's come up a little bit so I don't have any gaps. There we go, so I'm just going over the edge of that sky there. Just dragging it across, picking up a bit more of the blue, then I'm picking up a bit of gold and mixing it in. Touch of the white as well. And now a touch of the yellow. Okay, I'm now going to change over to a slightly smaller brush. And before I do that, I just want to do a little bit more blending up here. It's a heavy body acrylic, so it's a bit thicker, which means you've got more time. So I want to come back in here with some of these colours. Just blend that out a little bit. Don't really want a spotty sky, which I have a little bit down here. A bit more pink. Clean my brush and give it a dry. I'm going to work a little bit more into my sea, and I also have got a little bit of a gap going on there. That's better. Right, so my sea in the background here, just got a slightly lighter colour, and I'm just doing horizontal marks just so it's not dead flat. Actually, the colour I'm using is a bit of the leftover sky colour. I'm going to bring that forward. I'm going to green it a little bit because the sea does go green. So I'm using a bit of the gold and a bit of the yellow to make my sea a bit greener. You don't have to use the gold, you can use just yellows, but I like it. Doing a little darker on the edge. I'm just using up the paint that's on my brush really. Give my brush a good clean. Now I have also put a drip of water there. Now if I dab it out, it'll make a light spot, so I'm just going to leave it. I've got to be more careful with my water. So then I'm going to come in with a bit of the gold with a touch of the orange in it, just to give me a bit of a beach edge. Should have gone back to my bigger brush just for speed, but never mind. Just making sure this all gets covered. Pick up a bit of white as well. Bit of a clean, try not to drip it over my palette, my painting. Then I want to mix up some ultramarine with my pink, so I'm going to do a purple here. Then I'm going to add some gold into it and some white. Touch more blue, touch more white, so I want this sort of soft purpley colour. And I'm going to put that, whilst the beach is still wet, I'm going to put that along the edge of the beach. And I'm also going to just create some of those footprint marks that you get in sand. Clean my brush. Pick up some white and do the same sort of marks just to vary the texture on my beach. Clean my brush, give it a dry. We're getting there. We are getting there. And then I'm going to do a little bit of blending. As long as my brush is dry, I can just blend those a little bit. So I've got here an old oil painting brush. I'm just going to pick up, just because it's stiff, just the colours that I've been using. Mix my orange and my blue together to get me a brown. Sand and pebbles on the beach. Okay, then back. By doing that, I'm hoping this has dried back just a little bit. So I'm going to come back in and put an edge on my beach. So I need two things here. Just going to put a little bit of that froth and foam at the edge of the wave, just a touch. And I do have full videos showing me putting froth and foam on the sea on my channel. Just search through the Seas, Rivers and Waterfalls playlist and you will find some. I want to come back to my brown that I was using to splatter with and just put a shadow edge underneath this water. And what I'm doing is it's quite rough going on, so I'm going to put that down. And then just smooth it out a little bit. So there we have our beach and sea, and I want to try something. I don't know if I can do it. Let's find out. It could ruin the whole thing, but we'll see. So I want to put sail. I'm putting that on with the palette knife. I'm just going to put a little bit of a reflection, which I'm doing with the brush. A little bit of a weight going out behind it. Shall we do the reveal? I have got a couple of wet spots, I've got to be careful. And the whole canvas is still a little bit wet. But I still think we need to do a reveal. So there we go, a very quick little seascape.